I have a question for you. You talked about digital transformation and other latest technologies. My question has to do with the physical infrastructure readiness in your assessment. What the government is doing in terms of initiatives, though it's at the end of the list now. We referred earlier to the difference between automation and digitization, and we agreed that technology is part of the solution and not the solution. And there are competence, security, innovation, and leadership, and then comes technology. But this is the focus of the workshop. Where where does Egypt stand in terms of physical infrastructure readiness? Is it in line with the state's vision for digital transformation and digitalization? Your colleague spoke very fast, like he was going through a marathon to discuss the different initiatives of the government. I want a very precise answer.
Actually, frankly, the readiness of the infrastructure in Egypt is currently cannot support the full transformation or the digital transformation. We cannot do it. Why? Because the accommodation or the absorption capacity of the infrastructure cannot accommodate this. And very simply, you can say that try to do anything in the banks. Me, myself, I go to my account in HSBC all over the world since more than 20 years. I don't have a single issue. But when I try to go into my, or all due respect to the National Bank of Egypt, it was a nightmare. So that I gave up and I dropped the password and I stayed 6 months. I don't want to go to the internet to go into my account of the National Bank of Egypt. So the infrastructure in Egypt is still way too long to do it. So what has been presented, and even without Dr. Mahmoud's words, we have started, at least we have started. We started to change the infrastructure. You don't need the point of view of Ihab al Hagar or any one of the advisors who knows about this. Just look at the internet in Egypt at home. This is the best proof for you, the best evidence how it looks like. I'm really sorry to say that, but this is a problem, and maybe we have lots of jokes about this. We know that we all love, we people love jokes, like shut down the internet and open it again. It became like a provocative or a source of jokes, and everyone is joking about it. Other than the internet service in Egypt, we have another problem. That's the ministries itself are connected to each other. This is another problem. So today, for example, we don't have what's more difficult or much more difficult. Now let's say that a ministry decides to put the infrastructure. Who will put the design? So Dr. Ihab, please let us know. Do we have someone? Do they have a special? Did you pay for for a specialized person to do the design, or you just bring the names? Yeah, at a certain time there was a consultant or advisors who did a crisis in one of the designs of the big entities. He put a multi-mode fiber and works on it on a GPON, and this will never work. So if he stayed and started to sing in front of it, it will never work. It will never fly. But I stayed with him and I talked with him. He said that I am licensed by the engineering syndicate. He said that you are licensed as an engineer. What's your specialization? He said I am a power engineer. I told him I don't know, I don't understand what's power, because I don't come too close to the electricity, because I don't know anything about power. We have a problem in Egypt. In addition to the infrastructure, is that we 80 million the PhD or 80 million doctor, because the licensing is not yet ready. But we are not stuck because we have already started, which is the most important thing. So let's say that starting is not enough, because the government, all the world is running, and just starting is not enough. But maybe this was something that I have missed in my presentation. Why I am saying that if I started today, it's never too late. Because the main problem, it's not in the broadband. The broadband represents now a very small part. Before it used to represent a very big part. But now what I care about is the internet that comes through the cellular, through the 4G and the 5G. So the duck time, does it need this time? No, it's not. Because it does not depend, because it doesn't go directly to the user. It goes first to the cell site, which is in the place where that has the antenna. This is the best. This is the furthest thing that the provider can reach. So if you count them, it will not be a million sites even. But even if they reach it, it's accessible and it's from more than one company. So the main problem is not this. So frankly speaking, we can go beyond all of this, or we can exceed, we can reach them easily in this level if we start right. And I think, because normally I am always accusing, but I think we have started in a very good way to change the infrastructure. So Dr. Mahmoud, if you have any, any answer to this, please, if you agree or if you do not agree. As regards infrastructure, I agree with you on the internet, but for the infrastructure, there is a report of the International Association of Communication, which ranks Egypt in the readiness by 80% of readiness.
The problem does not lie in the infrastructure as you referred, but the problem is having an integrated solution. The availability is there, but when it comes to access and usage of this infrastructure, as for the readiness, infrastructure is available, and as a ministry and a whole state, we are working to increase the infrastructure all over the country. We have fiber optics, we have new places are covered. We are moving from copper to fiber optics cables, but the problem is the usage of this infrastructure of broadband. There's a shortage in this regard, and I referred in my presentation that we will increase the internet bandwidth to 10 terabit instead of 1.5 tera. And this is not the main challenge. If we look at different statistics for internet usage or the bandwidth, 70% of the traffic is local. People use local things inside the country more than any other thing. Excuse me, doctor. You told me that readiness is 80%.
But I have another problem, that is that, as I told you before, it's a shallow from the face, because it's a shallow, because there is a place called Kafr Namla. It's in Egypt. It doesn't have an internet, for example, like many places does not have internet. We are always looking or focusing on Greater Cairo, Alexandria, Sharm el Sheikh, specific locations in Egypt, but there are other places or locations. I myself, I have seen a, a young person. He is less than 18 years old, and he is talking about hacking and all of this. I didn't show to him that I understand, because I just wanted to hear from him. This boy is from one of the hamlets that doesn't have internet, but he goes to a cyber cafe, which is 5 kilometers away from his residence. So from myself, readiness is readiness between the ministries, among the ministries, which is not there. So please allow me, there is a linkage, there is a network of linking the ministries with each other. And the most important challenge is that the new administrative capital, all the ministries are connected, and there is a system which will be working between all the ministries, so that there will be an integration between the ministries, and we will reduce all the duplication and the resources that's used. If there is any investment in a certain ministry that uses the ERP system or uses an infrastructure or the voice, all of this will be integrated, and we will be using one system in order to reduce the duplication of resources. This is the trend of the government. So what's the time frame for this? So it's always my problem that It's not with Dr. Amr, but previously, that they always used to say that we finished the database, we are compiling. He said that there is a very strong challenge in front of the government as a whole, and everyone who used to do a system would be on his own. So now we don't have this. Now we have a unified database which is very strong, and we have an ID for each citizen, and it took us 3 years to build them, and now they are almost done. And and now there is a result. As you have mentioned in the presentation, we could not say that who are those who deserve the subsidy from the Ministry of Supply. Now we put segmentation for each layer, or for each deserve person who deserve, based on a very strong database that we have, which is updated every second. So now we have lots of achievement in this part, and this is the core, because people used to say that people used to say to do infrastructure and do integration, but they forget that there is something that has to be unified, that integrates all of this, or a database that carries out all of this information. So now we have information which we can build on, which you can use for decision making and work on a certain part for the infrastructure. Now, because of what happened, because everyone knows, we have stopped working on it for 3 or 4 years, but now we have resumed the work. And as regards integration from the government, next year all the ministries will move to the administrative city, and we are preparing it a data center which is very strong one in the new administrative capital, so that it will accommodate all the ministries together. But now I have 2 points. The first one are the national projects that you have presented, that has a database for the monuments or antiquities. So this all of this should not be just a database, it should be linked to something else, so that the antiquities, that I know where it is or its location, something needs maintenance or needs something, all of this linked together in the right way. Now it took us a long time to do the database, and I am talking very carefully, because I'm not an IT person, I'm an economist. It took us a long time, and then a new technology showed up, like blockchain and all of this, and big data and all of this. So by the time we finished the ID cards of the citizens that have all of this data. So what I heard from the expert is that all of this will show that we are behind, and things would require more things to be done, or better things to be done. The duck chain is the security module that's used in order to sustain the database that has the achievement. All of these are integrated together. There is nothing, both work together. And as I said, the main challenge that we have inside our country is to have a unified database, and everything would be clear and open, and then I can give you the information that you need with the security level that's required. The USA took us a long time to build its database of the citizens, but it took us 3 years to do it. And as you know, there is no law and there is no support, and we used to work under a lot of challenges. So I am talking about the future. I'm asking about the future. As I told you, we have something solid that we are building on. We have a strong infrastructure. We have a unified database. The trends of the government, or the approaches of the government, is very clear. The president, at the end of the year 2017, has issued a decision to form the Supreme Council for the Digital Community, and this is a turning point inside the country, because we were calling for a consortium that can see all the infrastructure and see all the technology trends in the country, so that no one will be working on his own and takes decision on his own. Now there is an entity that takes the decision. So can we segregate all these authorities? What will the Ministry of ICT Communication will do, and what are the other entities will do? Is there an overlapping between those roles? Now we are doing a strategy for the digital community. They put the vision, the mission, and the strategy, and the Ministry of Communication is represented. I'm a member of the digital community committee, and we are doing an ecosystem, and we put a governance model as well, in order to maintain all the games and preserve them, and so that there will be no duplication in the resources. And also there was a trend to establish or develop some of the entities in the infrastructure, and the community has stopped it because there is duplication, so we have directed it to use other resources. So there are other positive trends that's going in the country, and the government is going into an approach which is very promising. As regards the second part, because the IPF6, because IPv6, we the Ministry of Communication started it in since 2006, and we are doing twice a year awareness sessions with. And I just want to tell Dr. Ahab or make him rest assured that all the ISB have IPv6 and they are registered. Even the MCIT, we are working on IPv6. There is a very strong challenge. It's just like any change in the technology, the awareness of the IT, of the ID, we have the readiness of the equipment that's available, and in order to work on IPv6 native, all the active components should be changed. So there is a very strong challenge in that, but the IPv6, but they are ready, and they have certified people, and this is a journey that we have been working on since the year 2006. So so we are okay. We are okay. So I will ask Dr. Khalid to come and uh, and hear and moderate the session because I have to leave now. And I'm telling you that Dr. Ahmed Atifi also wants to talk and Dr. Ihab wants to talk. So we have to do the match. It's like a wrestling match in the same way. So does anyone want to say anything now? So now let's start with the right side. So Dr. Ihab, please go ahead. This is very, very good information for me, but I have a comment. You said that there is a government portal that's there and the government entities will be part of it, but there was nothing related to the cloud, and the cloud security is very important because there are two standards. One is MSAT, which is with Singapore with Microsoft, and the one is CSAM, Cloud Security Management Line, and version 3.0. One depends on Microsoft technology, and the other one depends on security controls that have 125 controls. What's our status related to the cloud security control, which is related to the government portal that's working now? So, what kind of standard we are following, or there is no standard that we are following? This is a question. The comment is that you have given us some statistics, especially to the judicial system, because I have worked with the judicial system in Abu Dhabi, and we have reached a phase that a prisoner in the prison and the police in any police station and with a witness, they can all go into the same system, and the court or the court session can be held electronically. What kind of statistics that you have put that there is 250,000 legal cases is out of 2 million, so that means only 1%. That means there is no actual success. So what is on the other side then? What are the measures that you have put that says that we have reached this 1% of digitization, of 2% digitization? So, and then within 3 months we will reach so and so, or within 4 months we will reach so and so. So where is the plan and where are the objectives? So all the statistics does not say that what we are measuring against what. So I'm sorry to say this, but so what's the measurement that you have used or achieved against what? Now I have a comment on the readiness. We all know that we have the report of that we have seen that the speed of internet in Egypt is 127 or maybe 140. I do not remember very well. This is that was 2 months ago. So so in the internet speed we are very late, and also the whole world have put a target to be around 2020 or 22 is 100 megabit. So and we have put the strategy of broadband in Egypt in 2012, and I don't think that nothing. anything has been achieved, and I didn't think even that it exists. We worked with Telecom and British Telecom. There are main points out of this issue. The first one is, in traditional ways we will not be able to cover more than 64% of the population. 36% are deprived, and we have to find other ways to cover them. Whatever community services, they will not be included within the service field for many reasons: affordability and knowledge and their education and multitude of aspects. And also the other point, which is the main point, is that, as you have said, the access part of the mobile will be easier, but it's not easy, because the problem is that in order to intensify the networks, and we should have fiber to the base station. We have micro and pico base stations in the buildings. We put pico base stations so that in every node or in the hotel or anything there should be a fiber. You have said that in the last point that you have compared. Maybe 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 the prices are high. We are talking about half of these prices in order to cover 16 million home. We are talking about $6 billion investments. So the collective industry capacity to cover, if I say that we have 3 or 4 or even 6 billion pounds of the four companies that are working. So in order to cover this before the flotation, we wanted 10 years, but now after the flotation we need 25 years. So it does not cover. So the government now has to look at it in a different way, but unfortunately the telecom sector will try to will try because the government has to invest in telecom as in the same way they are investing in the infrastructure of electricity, because it brought 100 billion of revenue. And this is a big problem in order to change the mindset of the Egyptian government to be a cost element in a way that it's working on. And the last point, and it is for you, Mr. Mahmoud, the capacity of Telecom Egypt. Telecom Egypt has announced that it is transferring these lamps, which is not, because these lamps is the last mile. So are now transferring these lamps in order to give VDSL, and so that we will be able to give fibers, because the capacity of the fiber is 15 to 20 lines. So we don't have many, maybe 50. So the last mile, that we have finished 80% of it, and Telecom Egypt is starting to finish around 70% within the next 3 years. And these are the last figures I've heard from them. So the problem is in the backhaul, and the back end maybe does not have a problem. Maybe we don't know, but it's the main problem is in the backhaul. So thank you very much. Is there any other question? Thank you. I'm Fadi Rabib. I am a journalist in Watani newspaper. We are talking today about the speed of internet, that we are not all satisfied about it. But if we talk about the industries related to internet, so I just would like to know, now we have the Minister of Communication in the Barcelona uh, conference talking about the how to export information technology. We are not talking about the internet as users, but if we are having industries related or based on the internet, what can we do? Also, my question is to Dr. Mahmoud. You have presented that that there is a project related to the Ministry of Health, the national network for treatment of citizens. This is that you have a unified database, and it is related to the ID of each citizen. So is this applied in the government hospitals actually? Because currently a patient would go to the government hospital and will meet the doctor and get the medicine free of charge, and then he goes to another hospital and get the same treatment so that he can take the medicine and sell it in a way or another. So is this applied in the hospitals? That's what I'm asking. Please allow me. We have talked about everything, but there is something missing about the hosting data. As far as I know, that we are investing in hosting data, even internationally, but we just want to know what is the latest status of hosting the data. I have a question to you. Why aren't you focusing on the broadband and internet in the governed rates? I am from Sohag and I am taking my laptop to do download of the PDF 1 mega, and I can stay like half an hour in order to download this 1 mega. You are lucky. Just go to Mani al-Shiha, an area of Kalman Shiha, which is opposite to Maadi from the other side, and then you will see the same problem.